Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Kayla and welcome. So today I'm going to show y'all just how easy it is to roast your own pumpkin and squash seeds instead of just throwing them in the trash and being wasteful. And no, I'm not judging you because I used to do it too. But once you see how easy it is to roast them yourself, you'll never throw them away again. Not only that, they're super nutritious and they make for a great healthy snack whenever you're craving something crunchy and salty. All right, let's head to the kitchen and get started. So in addition to showing y'all how to make roasted pumpkin seeds today, I'm also going to show you how to make homemade pumpkin puree. That way there's zero waste and you're using pretty much every part of the pumpkin. Now when making pumpkin puree, it's important to get a sugar pumpkin. It can also be called a pie pumpkin. They're much smaller in size, as you can see here. They're a bit sweeter and less fibrous, which makes them perfect for cooking. First you want to slice off the top of the pumpkin, and this does take a little bit of muscle, so make sure you just gradually work that knife around until the top is removed. Then lay the pumpkin cut side down and slice it right down the center. And as you can see, there's lots of seeds inside, so taking a spoon, I'm just going to scoop those seeds right out and transfer them to a bowl. It's okay if some of the stringy flesh comes out with it because we're going to rinse the seeds in just a little bit. But pumpkin seeds are super nutritious. They contain zinc, magnesium, phosphorus, copper, and vitamin K. They're also high in antioxidants, they're anti-inflammatory, and they're even a good source of fiber, especially with the shell. And they've also shown to have anti-parasitic properties. All right, once you've removed all the seeds, make sure you scrape out as much of that stringy flesh as possible. Then we're gonna rinse the seeds to separate them from the pumpkin flesh. And if there's still some small bits and pieces of the pumpkin mixed in, that's okay, don't worry, because after the seeds dry out, it's going to be easy to separate them. But try to get as much out as you can. Now transfer the seeds to a towel and then let them dry out for at least 24 hours. And this part is super important to get that extra crunchy finish. Of course, with the magic of YouTube, I already have some seeds that I dried out a couple days ago. So now I'm just going to add them to a bowl along with 1 teaspoon of avocado oil and a pinch of sea salt. And just toss that around until the seeds are fully coated with the oil. Then spread them onto a lined baking sheet and try to make sure that none of them are overlapped. And we're going to bake the pumpkin seeds at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 12 to 14 minutes or until they are golden in color. And by the way, you can roast any type of squash this way. So I went ahead and picked up a butternut squash at the store, and I'm going to roast those seeds as well. Start by cutting off the ends of the butternut squash and then cutting it in half lengthwise. And you're just going to scoop those seeds out the same way you did with the pumpkin. Now because butternut squash seeds are a little smaller than pumpkin seeds, I do like to roast them on a separate baking sheet because they will cook faster. Make sure you get all that stringy flesh out, and let's rinse those seeds, separating them from the flesh just like we did with the pumpkin seeds, and let those dry out for 24 hours as well. Again, I already have some that are dried out. I'm going to get a little festive with this one and make a cinnamon sugar coating. Now because the butternut squash doesn't yield quite as many seeds as the pumpkin, I'm only adding in half a teaspoon of avocado oil. You can add 1 whole teaspoon if you want to. Toss that around to make sure it's coated with the oil. Add a small pinch of sea salt, half to 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. Now to keep it lower in carbs, I actually mixed 1 tablespoon of monk fruit with 1/4 teaspoon of maple syrup, and it turned out perfect. And then add a pinch of cinnamon. Mix all that up and then spread it onto a lined baking sheet, and we're gonna bake those at 350 degrees as well, but these only take about 10 to 12 minutes. All right, once those seeds are done, you'll want to let them cool completely before serving or storing. And while those are cooling off, we're going to make some homemade pumpkin puree as well as butternut squash puree. It's as simple as placing them flesh side down onto a lined baking sheet and then baking them at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Now the pumpkin cooks faster. It only takes about 30 to 40 minutes, and the butternut squash takes about 45 to 60 minutes depending on how big it is. But whenever you can easily pierce them with a fork, that's when you'll know they're done. For the pumpkin, once it's cooled off a little bit, simply remove the skin and then roughly break it apart and add it to a mixing bowl. Same thing for the butternut squash. Once it's done and it's cooled off a little bit, just scoop it right out with a spoon and add it to a separate mixing bowl. Now for the pureeing part, you can certainly use a food processor like most people do, but my favorite way is to just roughly mash it up with a potato masher and then go in with a handheld immersion blender to puree it. I just find that this way is a lot easier and less messy, and the result is just the same. Same thing for the butternut squash. Mash it up with a potato masher and then go in with that handheld immersion blender and just blend blend it until it's completely pureed. Okay, I'm gonna transfer those to my glass storage containers, and both of these will stay fresh in the fridge for up to 5 to 7 days. And for the butternut squash, you can serve it as a healthy side dish to any main dish. Just add your favorite seasonings to taste. And for the pureed pumpkin, you can use it just as you would canned pumpkin. So use it in pies, desserts, pancakes, chia pudding, you name it. And as far as the roasted pumpkin seeds go, once they've cooled off completely, I like to store them in my glass mason jars at room temperature, and they'll also stay good all week long. But they make for a great healthy snack anytime you're craving something crunchy and salty, or even sweet if you make the cinnamon sugar version. And feel free to get as creative as you want with the flavor combinations. Well, all right, y'all, that is it for today's video, how to roast your own pumpkin and squash seeds. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a thumbs up to let me know. Of course, if you make any of my recipes or my meal preps, don't forget you can tag me in your food photos over on Instagram, and I will reshare that on my stories. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet and you enjoy healthy recipes, healthy meal preps, healthy lifestyle advice, all that good stuff, be sure to hit that subscribe button below. But that's it for today. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.